Absolutely not. Why would a low-level employee like you use paid leave to come to a luxury hotel like this? Don't mess with me. Approval for paid leave. That was just to keep you guessing, obviously. I never imagined you'd actually take time off to come here. This was the day I took my mother to a luxury hotel as a Mother's Day present. My arrogant boss was waiting for me at the hotel, yelling and looking down on me with disdain. But he doesn't know my mother is not just any ordinary woman, and that his life was about to take a turn for the worse. My name is Kevin. I grew up in a single-parent household after my parents divorced when I was young. From a young age, I noticed how busy my mother was, working hard to provide for us. As a kid left in daycare, I was always the last one to be picked up. "Hey, Mr. Johnson, where's my mom?" "Not here yet. She'll be a bit later." "Wanna play with blocks?" "I guess, but all my friends have gone home already." "Then let's build a big truck with the blocks together." Mr. Johnson at the daycare probably felt sorry for me waiting for my mom every evening. He always suggested fun activities to keep me entertained. Even in elementary school, life wasn't much different. Unlike daycare, which cared for me until 7:00 p.m., after-school programs only went until 6:00 p.m. and cost extra for extended hours. After 6:00 p.m., I would walk home alone on dark streets, watching other kids leave with their parents. Sometimes friends' parents worried about me and offered me a ride home, but it felt more miserable, and I hated them seeing my dark, empty house. So I would rush home alone. I never expressed my loneliness or frustration to my mother. Even as a child, I understood she was working hard. I had a vague sense of our financial struggles and debt, so I kept my feelings to myself, enduring the loneliness silently. As I got older, I turned to sports to distract myself from the loneliness. Sweating and focusing on sports helped me forget the unpleasantness. My childhood was a battle against this loneliness. Thanks to my mother's hard work, our living situation gradually improved. In high school, I was active in sports clubs and worked part-time on my days off. But it wasn't to earn living expenses. My mother's efforts meant it was just for pocket money. Like my friends, I was earning money just for fun. Around that time, I started thinking about my future education. One day, with parent-teacher meetings approaching, I brought it up to my mother. Private universities are a bit too much, but you can go to any public university department you like if you want to pursue higher education. Her response surprised me. "Really?" "Of course. You've been through a lot. I want to let you study as much as you want." "Thanks, Mom. I'll go to college. I'll study hard and get into a public university, so don't worry." "Sorry, Kevin. Thank you." I researched universities that were affordable and within commuting distance from home and studied relentlessly. Balancing work and study was tough, but my mock exam results were promising. "If you keep up these grades, you're likely to get in," my teacher assured me at the parent-teacher-student conference. Encouraged by this, I confidently took my university entrance exams and succeeded, getting into a public university. As a college student, I increased my working hours, but never slacked off in my studies. It was a university I had worked hard to get into. I didn't want to waste that opportunity. I packed my 4 years with lectures, earning more credits than necessary. I also actively participated in club activities, making for a fulfilling 4 years. After graduation, I got a job in the textile industry. Textile work requires a delicate sensibility, but also the physical strength to handle heavy fabric rolls. Thanks to my sports background, I was pretty confident about my physical abilities. As for the delicate sensibility, That's something I'm still looking to polish. Sensibility is honed on the job. Don't worry, Michael from the sales department told me. His words made me realize that although promotion is great, I wanted to work in the field as long as possible. Once you climb the corporate ladder, you end up doing more paperwork and attending more meetings than actual field work. I shared this view with my peers. You're quite the unique one, they said. I wondered if most people prefer to climb the career ladder quickly and work comfortably in an office. It seemed I was a rare type. Under Michael's guidance, I worked hard, often meeting demanding requests from clients. Saying I dedicated most of my 20s to work wouldn't be an exaggeration. My life revolved around the company, awake or asleep. Then, one day, everything changed. Cancer? I hesitated to tell you, but being honest is better than causing unnecessary speculation. This is terrible, but it's early, so it's not an immediate threat. Michael had gathered us before work to disclose his cancer diagnosis. Discovered early, there was a chance of recovery and return, but at 55, he decided to take early retirement. I'm sorry to spring this on you so suddenly. I'll ensure a smooth transition and won't burden you further, he said. But are you really okay? Will you recover? There's no guarantee in medicine, but the chances are good with early detection. I won't be gone just yet. Make sure to visit me sometimes. Michael was overwhelmed. I couldn't help but cry, and Michael gently patted my back. Due to his illness, he quickly transitioned his responsibilities and left the workplace a few days later. His successor as department head was David. Hey, starting today, I'm the head of this department. I expect respect, everyone's cooperation with me in charge. Lax work won't be tolerated. Be prepared to work hard. His greeting conveyed a sense of unease, causing frowns among us. But David seemed oblivious. He was someone none of us expected to get promoted to a management position. To put it bluntly, he wasn't exactly known for his competence. But with Michael's sudden retirement, David, by virtue of seniority, unexpectedly landed the role. He disliked being told what to do, often begrudgingly agreeing to Michael's instructions. He was also known for lashing out at objects and yelling at juniors, not the kind of person you hear good things about. Until now, Michael had kept him in check, preventing any major issues. But now, with Michael gone and David promoted, there was virtually no one to stop him. Moreover, it seemed David didn't quite grasp that it's already the modern era. I'm heading out now. I was finishing up my day's work, ready to leave at the regular time. Hey, Kevin, it's still regular hours. Why are you leaving? David asked, genuinely puzzled. Well, it is the end of my shift, and I've finished today's work, so I'm heading home. What are you talking about? Just because you finished today's work doesn't mean you can just leave. There's always more to do. And you guys too, don't just talk about today's work. Keep looking ahead and keep working. That way, we can secure more contracts, which is only good for the company. Stay late as much as possible. Those who leave on time are incompetent. Work harder. David announced this proudly in front of everyone, leaving us all dumbstruck. Then, when a junior employee tried to take annual leave, "Hey, I heard you applied for an annual leave." "Ah, yes." "What are you thinking?" He confronted him sharply. "Well, everyone else is working hard. You think you can just take an annual leave? Don't mess around. If you have time to spare, work." "No, that day is for a family memorial service." "I've taken annual leaves before, and it was never an issue, so what?" "I'm the boss now. Forget everything that happened before. From now on, taking annual leave is not allowed." His excessively tyrannical behavior left everyone in the department bewildered. There was even this incident. Who arrives at the last minute like that? As a punishment, come an hour early tomorrow and clean the office. He dished out such senseless penalties. In another instance, we've met this month's target, but it's still not enough. Tomorrow is Saturday, but I'm calling a meeting, so everyone shows up at the usual time. He also ordered us to come in on a day off for a mysterious meeting. Each time, we all voiced our concerns, but David didn't care. It seemed he had been frustrated for a long time, unable to secure a higher position, and now, as a manager, he was taking out his frustrations on us. "Hey, Kevin, how's it going?" he said one day. "Good evening." "Well, as usual." "That's good, but at your age, still being just a regular employee, isn't that a bit incompetent? Bottom of the barrel at your age. It's pretty clear what your future holds, right? It's only a matter of time before the newbies surpass you. Well, anyway, try not to let the newbies overtake you. And of course, I'm counting on you for overtime tonight." David patted my shoulder and walked away, leaving me with nothing but a sigh. A few months passed since David took over. Mother's Day is coming up soon, and I thought I'd splurge on a gift. "That's right. It'll be your first Mother's Day since you started working, Jess. So I was thinking maybe a short trip nearby, perhaps an overnight stay." "That sounds wonderful. Your mom will be thrilled." "But then, I have to do the same for Father's Day, right? I'm thinking about where to go. They both love hot springs, so maybe somewhere with hot springs." Hearing two female colleagues discuss this, I glanced at the calendar. Right, Mother's Day is coming up. Every year, I take my mom out for dinner, but maybe this year, I'll splurge on a luxury hotel for an overnight trip. That's what I was thinking. And as they say, strike while the iron is hot. Figuring that reservations for Mother's Day would fill up quickly, I quickly searched on my cell phone while having lunch. I made the reservation early. Then I returned to the office and immediately applied for a day off. Until the day of the trip, things were relatively calm. I was sure I'd be reprimanded for taking a day off. I was even prepared to be scolded in front of everyone. But surprisingly, nothing was said. In fact, my application was approved the next day, which left me astonished. "Kevin, you seem to be in good spirits lately. Something good will happen." "I don't think so, just the usual." "Well, that's good. Keep up the good work, as always." David was in too good of a mood, almost frighteningly so. "Well, as long as things continue peacefully, that's all that matters." But I couldn't shake the feeling of calm before a storm. Then came the day of the trip. In the morning, my mom and I enjoyed sightseeing around the hotel. "Well, can we really stay in a place like this?" "Yeah, I'll go check in now. Just wait here, thank you." While my mom excitedly explored the luxurious hotel, I went to the front desk to check in. But I stopped in my tracks when I saw someone who shouldn't be there. David. "Kevin, why are you here?" "David, what do you mean, why am I here? Why is a low-level employee like you using annual leave to come to a luxury hotel like this? Don't mess around." David grabbed me by the collar, began yelling. I was shocked and confused. "But you approved my annual leave request, didn't you?" I complained about that. Indeed, David had approved my annual leave for today. Why am I being yelled at now? And in a place like this? That was just to lead you on. I never thought you'd actually take the day off and come here. Lead me on? I don't understand what you mean. Are you kidding me? Ha! I'd like to see the face of a parent who raised such an incompetent person, who can't even understand their own position. What, the face of your parent? I want to see the face of the parent who raised such an incompetent person. David seemed to relish in saying such things. First of all, you don't even do unpaid overtime, and you seem to have no ambition for promotion, staying a regular employee forever. What's wrong with you? Don't you want to get promoted? If you work overtime every day, show some determination and grit. Otherwise, the higher-ups won't value you. Well, you might not understand what I'm saying, being incompetent and all. Sorry for speaking about complex things. He kept ranting whatever he wanted. Feeling the painful stares of those around me, I knew I had to do something about this situation. Hearing the commotion, my mother walked over, realizing something. I turned back to face David. David, what are you saying? Here is my mother. Saying that, I stepped aside to let my mother forward, causing David to freeze in shock. What? Why are you here? Well, hello. I suppose this is our first meeting outside the office, isn't it? Why? What does this mean? Oh, you know who I am. I assumed I was quite unknown within the company, as we rarely meet. No way, not knowing our chairman's face. That's impossible. Well, I'm flattered. Yes, my mother is chairman of our company. Apparently, David knew of her but was unaware of our family relationship. David was completely intimidated in the presence of my mother. So, David, I've heard everything. My son seems to be under your care. However, your assertions are exactly as my son described. Oh, well, that annual leave is legitimate, right of employees. You have no business to reprimand for that. And what about this unpaid overtime? Overtime for promotion? Which era are you living in? Listen, work isn't about blindly putting in hours. It's most important to do it efficiently. Without proper balance, you can't perform well as a professional. I assumed you understood that, but maybe I was wrong. My mother, with a fixed smile, at David completely cowed. Well, that's enough. I'm not here for work, but for leisure. I don't have the time to spare on you. Chairman, do you have something more for us? Any other business? Yikes, no, nothing good. I'll inform you of your consequences later. Be prepared for that, Kevin. Let's go. Yes, I said. Seeing my mother so livid after a long time, I couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. Careful not to aggravate her further, I thought. I responded and walked past David, glancing at his face as we passed. I saw a man utterly crushed by despair. After that, my mother and I enjoyed our trip immensely and returned home very satisfied. The day after next, when I went back to work, David's seat was no longer in the sales department. It seemed that my mother had called HR from our trip. David's unreasonable treatment of his subordinates came to delight HR. They had already deemed him unfit for the managerial role, considering him just a stopgap until a more suitable person was hired. Of course, had he performed well, he could have kept his position, but his conduct had sealed his fate. It seemed that David had mistakenly believed he earned his position through his own merit when, in reality, it was more of a fluke. This misperception led to his tyrannical behavior, resulting in an immediate transfer. He was transferred to the logistics department, a place so hot it makes you sweat like a waterfall, where physical strength is essential. The nature of the work there meant it was mostly populated by young, physically strong men, making it a somewhat sweaty environment. David to that logistics department. I doubt he'll be able to keep up. He's probably aiming for voluntary resignation. Well, considering what he's done, it's a fitting consequence. Anyway, with him gone, we can work more efficiently again, which is a relief. Yes, no more unnecessary overtime or working on holidays. It seems we're heading back to a peaceful work environment. Everyone gossiped, but no one truly seemed worried about David. He was probably feeling marginalized now, sweating profusely in the logistics department. I didn't feel a shred of sympathy for him. In the sales department, the position of the next department head was left vacant for a while, and the manager, Steve, temporarily took on the role. We made a mistake with an interim personal decision, thinking it was just for a short while. I apologize for the great inconvenience caused to everyone. The HR department, seemingly reflecting on their actions, came all the way to the sales department to leave words of apology. It seems my mother, though retired as the active chairman, reconsidered the need to keep an eye on the company's internal affairs. The current president, who had been my mother's competent right hand for years, also received a word from her and sent an apology. In the sales department, we were just glad to have our peaceful work environment back and felt almost embarrassed to be apologized to by various parties. Soon after his transfer to logistics, David left the company. It's unclear whether the transfer was a move to encourage his resignation, but working under younger employees must have been unbearable for him, and physically it must have been quite demanding. He was really put through the ringer, someone commented. It's ironic for someone who hated taking orders. He couldn't have lasted long. Such rumours faded within a week. Later, I was summoned by my mother to the reception room. "Kevin, sorry for the sudden call." "It's fine, but what's up?" "Something else happened." "No, it's different." "I was hoping you'd be ready to accept a promotion soon." "A promotion?" "Yes, I'm very grateful you joined our company. I know you've continued to work in the field based on Michael's advice, and you have your own goals and pride in your current job. I think I understand all that." "Then why suddenly?" "It's not sudden. I've been thinking about it for a long time. It's not just me. The president and the HR department agree." "Really, that was surprising to hear, Kevin. Since you joined the company, we haven't had a proper discussion. So, let me say this now. I hope, if possible, you can work towards becoming the next president of the company." "That is certainly. Since I joined the company you founded, I've thought about it eventually, but I still have so much to learn, and I still want to be out in the field." "I understand. But our company's work isn't just about being in the field. Certainly, there are things you can't understand and experience unless you're on site. However, there are also things you can only understand and learn by being in a leadership position, directing others." I understood what my mom was saying. I felt the same way when I first joined the company. I was fully intent on eventually taking over as president. However, after working in the textile industry for 10 years, I grew increasingly anxious about whether I could handle such a big responsibility. I told my mom, "Please let me think about it." I called Michael on the weekend. He had successfully undergone surgery and was now enjoying a peaceful retirement. "I haven't been in touch for a while," I said. "It's been a long time." I discussed the recent events and my mom's proposal with Michael. Honestly, I'm more anxious than confident right now. I worry that standing at the top in this state of mind will only make everyone else uneasy, I confessed. Then Michael quietly said, "Do you have time now?" "It's your day off, right?" "Yes," I replied. "Then bring me the highest quality fabric sample you're handling right now," he instructed me. I quickly grabbed what I believed to be the best fabric sample I was handling and went to Michael's house. After showing him the sample, Michael commented, "You've really come to understand, haven't you?" He smiled kindly. "It's proof that you've built up solid experience in the field. You should be fine." His words resonated deeply with me. I felt acknowledged for the first time and was moved. "Thank you, I really appreciate it," I said. And that feeling gradually turned into confidence. Encouraged by Michael, I decided to accept my mother's wishes. I was anxious about what others would think of my promotion, being inexperienced in many areas. But when I was actually promoted to manager, everyone seemed happier than I was. "Kevin, congratulations. It's as if it's my own promotion. I'm so happy. Finally, I was wondering why you hadn't been given a position until now. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you. I may cause some inconvenience by being inexperienced and only knowing the field. Not at all. We all know how much you've contributed to the company. Don't worry, we'll support you in whatever way we can. Thank you, really, thank you." The sound of applause was heartwarming. With my promotion to manager, Steve was promoted to department head. As a sales department, we had a foundation to move forward unitedly. Once again after my promotion, I became more proactive in training and guiding within the department. Even though juniors had asked for my guidance before, I was mostly out in the field, so I wasn't often in the office, especially the new female employee who had wanted to ask me many things, benefited from my new focus on sharing knowledge and sales expertise. Perhaps as a result, the company's performance improved. Jess, is there something you still don't understand?" "No, it's not that." Kevin, do you have a girlfriend?" "Oh, what?" The new female employee asked such a personal question. Looks like spring has finally come for Kevin. Others teased me. I spent several years living through such days. I was promoted to department head, recognized for my achievement as a manager. At first, I was filled with anxiety about my new role, but now I am fully resolved to take over as president when the time comes. This is all thanks to my mother, who showed me the value of hard work from a young age, Michael, whom I respect, and everyone at the company who has supported me. Their encouragement has built my confidence and contributed to the company's growth. Kevin, President Wilson, good to see you. Likewise. How are you finding the department head role? Well, I'm still feeling quite inexperienced. Haha, you're really humble. Quite different from your mother. I occasionally join in for drinks, savouring these moments. He has worked under my mother for a long time. I want to learn as much as I can from him now, about his vision for the company and his approach to leadership. I don't want to rely on my mother's influence. I want to earn recognition for my own abilities. To do this, I'm willing to work hard, even if it means getting my hands dirty. Perhaps sensing my intentions, President Wilson shares various experiences with me. You look much more mature now. Maybe it's just a parent's pride, but you really seem dependable, she says. Hearing her say that, I can't help but feel it's true. Until now, I've been focused solely on fieldwork and my own responsibilities. That was what was required and expected of me. But as my responsibilities have grown, so has my perspective. It's a natural progression, and I need to adapt. Of course, there are things I need to oversee from a higher level, but sometimes it's important to return to the field perspective, ensuring the well-being of the employees and the appropriateness of personnel management. It's precisely because I've always been in the field that I can think this way. My time in the field has broadened my horizons. Still, I remain inexperienced. Just appointed as a manager, I find the thought of aspiring to be president presumptuous. But for everyone who believes in me, who follows me, I want to quickly grow into a role I can be confident in. I aspire to take on that position as soon as possible with confidence in my abilities. There's still much to learn from my mother, Michael, President Wilson, and everyone else. I'll keep my feet on the ground and strive to be a president that would not be an embarrassment. That's my resolve.